Am I the asshole for assuming my husband is having an affair when he was over at his coworker's place and spent all of our savings on tickets to a concert that I don't even want to go to? So I, 30F, and here's what happened. Brody, my husband, came home last night with this huge smile on his face, telling me about how we were going to see Piper live in concert next weekend. Now, I'm all for enjoying some good music, but he spent a small fortune, $800, on 2 tickets to the show, and to make matters worse, Piper is actually Brody's coworker at the advertising firm where I work. As soon as we got home, I asked him about how his day was, and he launched into this long story about how he had been talking to Piper all afternoon and they had been discussing everything from their shared love of indie rock to our personal struggles with anxiety. It sounded like a pretty in-depth conversation to me, especially considering that Brody's job requires him to spend most of his time at the office. I started to feel a little uneasy, so I asked him if he was spending too much time with Piper, and he assured me that it was just a friendly coworker thing. But then things took a turn for the worse when Brody mentioned that Piper had invited him over to her place for dinner sometime soon. He said they were going to order pizza and watch a movie together. Now, I've been feeling like we haven't been connecting lately, and I was already on edge about this concert tickets thing, so hearing that he was spending time with someone else at his workplace made me super uncomfortable. As I lay in bed last night, I couldn't shake the feeling that Brody is hiding something from me. The way he talked about Piper's apartment, with all these little details about her decorating style and favorite TV shows, it just seemed like a lot to take in. And then this morning, when I was getting ready for work, I saw Brody quickly close his laptop and pretend like he hadn't been talking to anyone on the phone at all. Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for setting a boundary with my friend Bo when he asked me to help pay off his $2,000 credit card debt by lending him $1,500 and promising not to say anything to Aaron, who's been suspicious of him spending too much money? So I, 25M, and here's what happened. Bo and I have been friends since college, and we've always been close. He's recently gotten into some financial trouble, and a few days ago, he called me up and asked if I could help him out by lending him $1,500 to pay off his credit card debt. I was happy to help at first, but then Erin called me and asked why Bo had reached out to me with that request, as she'd been getting some suspicious spending reports from her own bank. She seemed genuinely concerned about Bo's financial situation, which made me feel a bit uncomfortable. I told Erin that Bo hadn't mentioned anything to me about his financial troubles before he needed help, and that I wasn't sure why he was suddenly coming to me for assistance. She just asked if it was because he thought we were friends enough for me not to care about the details of our friendship. That stung a bit, but I explained that while we're close friends, I'm also 25 years old and have my own financial responsibilities. Bo seemed taken aback when I mentioned that amount, too. He'd said $1,500 was just what he needed to pay off the minimum payments on his debt. He claimed he'd already told Erin about his situation, but Erin disputed that, saying she hadn't gotten a call from him. Bo became defensive and accused me of not trusting him enough, which made me realize that I didn't want to get involved in this drama anymore. So, I told him that while I still want to help him out, I'm not going to lend him the money without some more transparency about his situation. Now, I'm wondering if I overreacted or if I should have just given Bo a straight-up no. Am I the asshole for assuming my wife had done her due diligence before inviting her mother to move in with us? So I'm a 24-year-old guy who's been married to my wife, Zena, for about 2 years. We've got a comfortable life together. I make around $40,000 a year from my part-time job, and she works as a freelance writer, bringing home an extra $2,000 a month. We're both decent with money, but we've never talked about having kids or how much space we need. Recently, Zena's mom, Wilder, who I've always gotten along with, asked if she could come live with us for a bit because her husband had passed away and she was going through some tough times. Zena invited her mom to stay with us without even mentioning it to me until the day she told me that Wilder would be moving in. She just said something like, "Oh, by the way, my mom's coming to live with you guys," and acted like it was no big deal. I was shocked. I asked her what made her think this was okay, and she just shrugged and said, "I thought you'd want to take care of me too, since we've been married for a while." That just made me more upset. The thing is, our place isn't exactly huge, it's a studio apartment in a decent neighborhood. We're already pretty close on money, and I'm not sure how much space we'll have left for Wilder to live comfortably. And what about us? We've never really discussed long-term plans or changes like this before. Zena keeps saying that it'll be fine, but I'm not so sure. Am I the asshole for feeling frustrated and unsure about this whole situation?
Am I the asshole for reporting my manager, Sawyer, for embezzling company funds? So I, 29M, and here's what happened. I've been working at a mid-sized marketing firm for about 2 years now. We're a small team of 6, with Sawyer as our manager. The thing that bothers me is that we were having some financial difficulties, and it was announced that the company would be doing a 10% reduction in pay across the board to right-size the budget. However, I witnessed Sawyer taking cash from his own pocket and putting it into a personal bank account. Specifically, I saw him count out $1,000 in cash on 2 separate occasions. We were supposed to have a meeting with Cleo, our finance manager, to discuss the company's financial situation. Sawyer was acting nervous and fidgety during this time. The next day, we received an email from Jada, our CEO, informing us that the 10% pay cut would be more like a 20% reduction, effective immediately. I found it suspicious that the pay cut wasn't reflected in our meeting with Cleo or in any official communication. I decided to report what I saw to Sawyer and asked him if everything was okay. He denied taking anything from the company, but told me he was having financial troubles at home and couldn't afford his mortgage. I didn't think much of it at the time, assuming he was being honest about his personal struggles. However, since then, our team has been acting really strangely towards me. They've been avoiding eye contact and whispering to each other when I walk by. Sawyer even went so far as to tell me that I'm not a team player for reporting him. Cleo said she's having trouble trusting me with financial information now. It feels like they're treating me like I betrayed their trust or something. Am I the asshole?